The bar lived under the dead rail lines where cameras rarely worked and no one asked questions. Rust streaked the ceiling. Neon signs flickered in weak colors. The air carried smoke, ozone, and cheap synth alcohol. People here had more metal than flesh and more history than hope. Garrick Vale sat alone at the counter. He wore an old coat that had seen better years. His hands trembled slightly when he lifted his drink. A faded neural jack rested behind his left ear, scratched and dull. It was old civilian hardware, once cutting edge, now outdated. Once, Garrick had been one of the best. Corporations built walls. Garrick slipped through them. Governments hid secrets. Garrick copied them before they finished encrypting. His code had shaped early adaptive intrusion systems. His name had carried weight. Now he just wanted silence. The door slid open. Conversations lowered without anyone meaning to lower them. Cade Roven entered. He was tall, broad, reinforced. Carbon fiber arms with plated joints. Synthetic muscle beneath engineered skin. A spinal reactor humming faintly, eyes glowing soft blue with combat optics. He did not rush. He did not need to. He walked to the counter and sat 2 seats from Garrick. The stool creaked under heavy reinforcement. The bartender avoided eye contact. "Cade Roven," Garrick said without looking up. "You move loud even when you try not to." Cade turned slightly. "You know who I am." "I know hardware," Garrick replied, "and I know expensive trouble." Cade faced him fully. "You breached a convoy vault 4 nights ago," he said. 72 million credits removed. My employer traced the architecture to you. Garrick took a slow sip. "I retired years ago. The code carried your signature," Cade said. "Recursive misdirection. Adaptive feedback loops. Classic veil structure. Signatures can be copied," Garrick said. "Not perfectly." "Perfect is a myth," Garrick replied calmly. Cade's contract had been direct. Locate source. Disable permanently. Avoid unnecessary civilian casualties. He studied Garrick's neural jack. It was obsolete. Low processing bandwidth. Limited neural throughput. "You cannot outrun modern encryption with that hardware," Cade said. "Exactly," Garrick answered. Cade's eyes narrowed. Then he moved. His hand shot forward and grabbed Garrick by the collar. The stool fell back. The bar stayed silent. No one interfered. Cade forced Garrick onto the floor and pressed 2 fingers against the neural jack. "Verification," he said. He triggered a focused electromagnetic pulse. Garrick screamed. It was sharp and human, not loud but full of pain. The pulse surged through fragile circuits. Old implants sparked. Data pathways burned out. Another pulse. The smell of melted insulation filled the air. Garrick convulsed once and went still. Smoke rose faintly behind his ear. Cade released him and stood. "Target neutralized," he said quietly. "Stop." The word came from near the door, calm, steady, not afraid. Cade turned. A young woman stood there, dark hair pulled back, clear eyes, no visible chrome, no visible weapons. She walked forward slowly. "You damaged him," she said. "He is alive," Cade replied. She knelt beside Garrick. "Dad," Garrick's fingers twitched. His eyes were open but unfocused. "Myra," he whispered. "Everything is white." Mira swallowed and steadied her voice. "I am here." Cade watched carefully. He will survive, Cade said. His implants are destroyed. That was the contract. Mira looked up at him. You think he breached that vault? Yes. You never questioned why a 71-year-old man with outdated hardware could bypass quantum encryption. Cade remained silent. My father can barely sync a secure call, she said. Someone copied his early frameworks. Someone wanted his name blamed. Why? Cade asked. To test you. The room seemed smaller. Explain. Mira helped Garrick sit upright against the counter. My father designed early adaptive combat firmware, she said, before corporations centralized control. He warned them against remote overrides. Garrick managed a weak breath. They liked control, he murmured. Cade felt a faint vibration along his spine. You are suggesting my employer manipulated the breach, he said. I am suggesting they used it, Mira answered. She pulled a small data shard from her jacket. 2 hours ago, your neural core transmitted a handshake to a restricted server. It was not user-initiated. Cade's internal diagnostics triggered instantly. He accessed recent logs. There was a gap, 3 seconds missing during the pulse discharge. That is impossible, he said. Is it? Myra replied. The door opened again. 3 armored figures entered wearing black combat plating marked with a glowing red insignia. Corporate Retrieval Unit. Cade recognized the formation instantly. Cade Roven, the leader said. Stand down for emergency maintenance. My schedule does not indicate maintenance, Cade said. It does now, the leader replied. You confirmed during active engagement. The missing 3 seconds flashed again. Secondary target confirmed, another soldier said while scanning Garrick. Mira's jaw tightened. They used you to verify architecture alignment, she whispered. The leader tapped his wrist device. Shutdown sequence engaged. Pain exploded through Cade's spine. He dropped to one knee. Motor control lagged. Vision flickered red. You are company property, the leader said calmly. Mira moved fast. She stepped behind Cade and inserted the data shard into an auxiliary port at the base of his skull. Trust me, she said. Code flooded his vision. Structured, clean, surgical. They left an old back door in your firmware, she said quietly. They assumed no one remembered it. Garrick forced his voice through static. Left channel bypass, he whispered. Skip checksum. Mira's fingers moved rapidly in the air. The shutdown sequence stalled. Cade forced himself upright. The leader frowned. That override is obsolete, he said. Not obsolete enough, Myra replied. Control returned fully. Cade moved. He crossed the distance in 2 strides and crushed the leader's wrist device. The control module shattered in sparks. Pulse rifles fired. Cade deflected one shot with his reinforced forearm and slammed another soldier into the wall. A third tried to reposition. Cade seized him and threw him across a table. The fight lasted seconds. When it ended, 3 armored bodies lay across broken furniture. The bar was silent. Cade stood, breathing heavily, though his lungs did not need air. Myra removed the shard carefully. You are free from remote shutdown, she said. For now, he repeated. He looked at Garrick. I destroyed your implants. Garrick reached blindly and touched Cade's arm. You followed orders, he said softly. Now you choose. Sirens wailed faintly in the distance. They will send more, Cade said. Yes, Mira answered. Cade looked down at his chrome hands. I was built to obey. Mira met his gaze. Then do not. The simplicity of it struck harder than the fight. Outside, lights from approaching vehicles flashed against the alley walls. They will classify you rogue, Mira said. Cade nodded once. Then I am rogue. He lifted Garrick gently. We leave now, he said. They moved toward the rear exit. Cold night air met them outside. Above, drones crossed the sky in slow patrol arcs. Cade scanned frequencies. Search patterns were already adjusting. They are tightening the grid, he said. Mira walked beside him, steady and focused. Then we move between it. Garrick leaned against Cade's side. I cannot see the city, he said quietly. Describe it. Mira smiled softly. It is bright and loud, she said, but it forgets the dark places. Cade listened. For the first time since his augmentation, he did not feel like a tool waiting for the next command. He felt responsibility. They will escalate, he said. Yes, Mira replied. Then we prepare. Garrick managed a faint laugh. Adaptive response, he said. Still useful. Cade looked at him. Teach me, he said. Garrick turned his head toward his voice. You want to learn code? I want to understand what they hid inside me, Cade answered. Myra studied him carefully. You will need a new identity. My old one was owned, he said. They can keep it. Behind them, armored transports roared into the district. Searchlights swept rooftops. Cade adjusted his internal firewall using Mira's temporary patches. It was not perfect. It was enough. They reached a shadowed underpass where signal strength weakened. Myra connected her console and began rewriting fragments of Cade's firmware while they walked. Small changes. Removing hidden hooks. Rerouting priority chains. It was risky. Cade did not hesitate. Above them, corporate satellites recalculated threat projections. Below them, 3 figures moved through blind zones. An old hacker who had lost his sight but not his mind. A daughter who chose mercy instead of revenge. And a cyborg mercenary who had chosen to stop being owned. The future ahead was dangerous. Corporate forces would hunt them. But something had shifted tonight. A weapon had refused its master. Cade felt new directives forming inside his core. Protect, learn, defy. He did not know where the road would end. He only knew it was no longer written by someone else. And for the first time, that was enough.